Yes, otherwise she wouldn't be able to have that. That's exactly right. She really, yeah. Wouldn't be. Somebody else would find it distracting. It's the distraction. Instead, we were all down in one position at the company. This is this. Look out. There it comes.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. We're getting started just a tinge early today, but that's okay, right? Because we all are still coasting on the hour we got last week. So why don't you turn to your neighbor or your friends or yell at the people out in the hall and get a chair.
Good morning. Welcome to Unity. It's so good to see everybody's face this morning. Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. Yay. We gather to create an experience of spirit. Yay. And we offer practical teachings that empower abundant and meaningful living. Meeting you right where you are, we endeavor to provide a variety of ways to support your path of spiritual living. I am Paula Land, and I am your platform chair this morning. So, I would like to say that Barb Buchanan is going to be the prayer room partner. I think prayers are an awesome thing for today and every day. So, make sure you take the opportunity to join Barb in prayer after the service. Also, our phones have so many purposes, and phone calling, texting, and checking in on Facebook. So let your friends know that you are here today and that you are joining together in spirit with your fellow spiritual travelers. And then also welcome to the live streamers. We're glad to have you with us today. Be sure to tell your friends that they can check us out every Sunday at 10 a.m. Several announcements today. We do have all the beautiful Serve Store items are on sale, so everything that's on that table is for sale. Then you can actually take it home with you. And if there's something in the catalog that you would like, Ruth will be out in the foyer taking orders today. She will be placing an order today for items because it's been such a popular thing, and folks want gifts, right, for Christmas, and they'll still be here. Great, great. So still a chance for Christmas. Next Saturday is Thanksgiving Spa Day. Woohoo! It's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we have some awesome practitioners in our community who have generously donated their time to serve you. And thank you for your service. So there are still slots available. We want everybody to have a chance to sign up for a slot, so go quickly after service and get signed up because, yeah. And if you've already signed up for one and you're still hanging around and it looks like it's not filled up, go ahead and sign up for a second. Okay. Save Brenda's slot. You better go out there and sign up. So also, we have several congregants who are in need of just the knowledge that their spiritual community is thinking of them and supporting them. And so there are some cards out in the foyer for you to sign. So I think it'll be great for folks to be able to receive those cards and know that it's filled with lots and lots of love from all of us. Did I lose a page? Yes, there we go, the artist vendor meeting. So if you have artwork or craft artisan type things that you do, meet at 11:30 in the bookstore because they're looking at opportunities for you to sell your art in the bookstore. So that is at 11:30, and is there a leader for that? Ruth, thank you for leading that. So, all right, I think that covers it. Yes.
I just wanted to say that today we're going to start after the service. Start after the service, working with the children for 20 minutes. Program.
Children after the service. Right. How's the puppet making going? Okay. So excited. Okay, well, now let's take a moment to center in our seats and get comfortable. Closing our eyes. And as we breathe deep in this now moment, we take this moment to align with Spirit. We know that Spirit is in us and in each of us. I breathe into that thought that the Spirit in me is in each of us. How am I allowing Spirit to express in me and through me? I breathe into the question. Am I open to feeling Spirit? Am I willing to know the Spirit in me? Can I find where I allow my mind and heart to lose sight of that divine connection? As I feel sadness in my heart, do I allow myself to experience the sadness, knowing that knowing sadness allows me to know joy? As I feel anger, do I breathe through the anger, knowing that through my anger I can find love? It is mine for the knowing. I feel the love of God. As I experience confusion, do I recognize the role it plays in my clarity? From confusion comes clarity of mind, clarity of heart, clarity of purpose. Am I willing to sit in the question, in the feelings, momentarily shutting out the outer world noise to get in touch with Spirit and to find the clarity of what is mine to do? I am open to hearing, feeling, and knowing what is in my heart and what is mine to do in love. I embrace my challenge, my discomfort, and my thoughts of fear, knowing that they propel me to action, to commitment to Spirit, and to love. Love for all in this room. Extending that love out into our community. And with our combined unity of love, unity of Spirit, into the world and into the universe. Let us walk forward in this moment, seeing the humanity in all, seeing the Spirit in all, sharing God's love from our heart, knowing that God is good in all ways and always. Amen. And now it's time for our daily word. It is, we are one. I feel a sense of oneness when I listen to the harmony of life. We live in a world rich with diversity, Yet it may be easy to forget that we are one, united by a divine common denominator. All things and people can work together in divine synchronicity. Nature reflects this harmony. When I find myself in the great outdoors, I take a moment to listen to the cacophony of sounds. Various bird calls mingle with the sound of the wind in the trees, the chirp of insects, and the gurgling of water trickling to create a wondrous symphony. A beautiful harmony of human expression can be made too. I am listening and adding my own unique expression to the symphony of all life. We are one, and diversity makes this knowing even sweeter. As you, Father, are in me and I am in you, may they also be in us, so that the world may believe that you have sent me. From John 17:21. I'm going to mark that page and read it again. So please take a moment and join me to say our centering prayer together. It's on the right side of your bulletin. There is only one presence and one power in my life and in the universe. God, the good, omnipotent. And now we get to sing. So stand up and let's join together singing When I Walk on your pink sheet. When I Walk. Wonderful. Now, who is talking about youth ministry today? That would be Linda in her enthusiasm.
Yeah. Today, we have to, no. Today we are again working on the puppets for our puppet show that we are going to have for our Christmas program. And I am very excited about it, and we are going to be gathering materials and building, and looking at the characters of the Nativity and how we can create those in our own unique way as kids. And also, so that's what we will be doing today. And we have Tracy and Jean with us, and maybe Tia. I haven't seen her yet, but and so we will sing the children off to Sunday school, and then I will scoot over with the choir and sing quickly, and then I will go back and meet them. They're going to have a fun discussion, and then I will swoop back in. You might have to sing me off to, no, you won't. Anyway, so we are getting very excited, and we're ready to work on them. And one other little invitation, we will probably need to have a couple of extra making days, and one of them is going to be this Saturday from 10 to noon, and we invite other children, no matter what age they might be, that might want to participate in the making, to come from 10 to noon here on Saturday, and we'll have a little work session. And we may have another one, but we'll see how it goes. So let's walk in the light.
Okay, I just have to do a little PSA here because my kids grew up in Unity, and being a part of youth and family ministries and participating in a Christmas program at any level was just so meaningful to them, and it really grounded them in truth principles. And so I am so grateful for that, and I'm grateful for all the amazing people who show up every week to support our youth. Thank you. Not too late. It's not too late to bring kiddos, even if they haven't been here.
We need lots of hands.
So kids and grandchildren and lots of characters.
Yeah.
Come one, come all. Speaking of come all, we'll welcome the Spirit Choir up here for our music.
There you go. Be right here. There's a couple. I think having too many ladies is, Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know where you want.
We're getting in the Thanksgiving spirit a little bit early this year. So we have a guest speaker on Thanksgiving this year. So we're singing a song called Simple Praise.
Seasons, the earth I'm feeling blessed by the particular combination of folks that we have in the house this morning. And the combination that's not really invisible, but not purely visible, that is out in the ethers with us right this moment. None of us are jealous that you're home in your pajamas drinking your coffee, joining us. We don't have any bad bones about that. We're glad you're here. So some of us may have noticed that we had quite a seismic event this week. They did.
Oh, that wasn't what you were talking about?
We don't know, do we? Now, I have a very clear disclaimer here, and I invite you to hear it. Today's message is not about politics. Thank you, God. It is not about cheering for one candidate and bashing another. What our message is about is the result of the events this week. And we are about the business of contemplating the current state of consciousness in our country and in ourselves. We're here to ask, what is mine to do? Yes? Yes. What is mine to do? So many of you may be aware that we had roughly a 50-50 outcome. I saw an article last night that they're still counting and in the popular vote, and one candidate at this point is about 1.5 million votes ahead of the other. So in general terms, we had about a 50-50 outcome in the votes. So half of those who voted are in jubilant celebration. Half of those who voted, please stay with me, are in jubilant celebration. The other half is expressing a whole wagon wheel of stuff: disbelief, terror, mourning, fear, anger, despair, hand-wringing. So when we look at this outcome, when we look at this week through the 50-50 lens, here's what we see. We see winner, loser. Yes? We see right and wrong. I voted for the right person. They voted for the wrong person. We see good and bad. We see forward and backward. We see up and down. And primarily, from what I'm noticing in articles and certainly in social media, I really can see the energy of us and them. Anybody picking up on that? The us and themness? So when we're looking at the consciousness around the election input, there's one other factor that we really cannot disregard. Approximately half of all eligible voters stayed home. Either they stayed home or they did not vote in the presidential election. Half. So if I'm tracking numbers correctly, and I am no statistician, 1/4 of the country voted for one candidate, 1/4 of the country voted for another candidate, and half of us stayed silent. So what meaning do we make of this? As human beings, we love to fill in the blanks and tell the story about why that is. So let's speculate. I think it's always been true. There's a certain percentage of the population that just doesn't care. They just, don't get involved, don't have an opinion, don't care. I think there's a certain percent of the population who believes their vote doesn't count. Maybe there's a certain percent of the population that could not bring themselves to vote for either, actually there were 4 presidential candidate. So the bottom line is we don't really know for sure, this half of our country that didn't vote. My thought is whether or not a person voted, do we agree that we all are certainly impacted by the outcome, whether or not we voted? So let's circle back to those numbers. No matter how we slice them, we come up with 50-50. Half of us voted, half of us didn't. Of those that voted, half of us for one candidate and a little more than half, which I know is a little more than 100%, so that's why I'm not a statistician, voted for the other candidate. So when we're looking at this 50-50 picture, we see dualistic thinking. We see a nation divided. If you've read, or I guess some people watch news on a television. If you've read or seen news this week, you certainly are picking up on that energy of a nation divided, right? And many of us see danger in that division. Many of us might feel fear around that division. And in that division, again, we see a picture of right versus wrong. We see a picture of us versus them. And in the us versus them scenario, all sorts, we're watching them. Many of us are feeling them. All sorts of thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and actions are rising to the surface. So within that division lies the belief, they won, we lost. And therein lies the fear, the violence, the anger, the bullying, the superiority. And I want to be very, very clear about something today. I'm not here to suggest that anyone needs to get over how they feel, one way or another. I'm not here to suggest that anyone's emotions, thoughts, feelings, or beliefs do not count. We live in a democracy. We have the freedom to express our thoughts and beliefs. What I'm here about this morning, and again, for those of you who were here last week, we started this really fascinating discourse on death. And I came out of last Sunday thinking that we were continuing in that direction. And then in my walk on Wednesday, this download came in, and it was very clear that it's necessary for us to discuss this as spiritual travelers. So what I am here to advocate this morning is that we sort out our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, our beliefs, using the tools that we possess as spiritual beings traveling this earthly realm. As I've talked with some of you, and again, watching on social media, I'm still spinning on a merry-go-round of myriad of emotions. And I know that many folks are still on that merry-go-round. And the good news is, as the week has progressed, that I do find every once in a while, I can land in a space of seeing all of this through a higher spiritual consciousness. Not all the time, but I find that I can go there now. So in other words, I can sometimes see our current framework, that 50-50 framework, through a much wider, a much broader lens. So I didn't come with any answers, that's not how I roll, but I did come with a lot of questions. So you might want to make some notes of some of these in case you're interested in being with them this week in your meditation time. One of the early questions that came up for me is, what are the benefits? What are the benefits of a divided viewpoint? where is the balance? There's part of me that's extremely clear that somewhere there is a balance in the midst of us, them, good, bad, right, wrong. So what are the benefits of divided opinions, and where is the balance in the division? Here's another good one that just came in yesterday. Can we see, or maybe Friday, can we see the division, the 50-50, as the yin and the yang, a part of the whole? In Eastern thought, the yin-yang represents the two complementary, keyword complementary, two complementary forces that make up all aspects and all phenomena of life. And the two are said to proceed from the great ultimate Taji, their interplay with one another, so as one increases, the other decreases, their interplay being a description of the actual process of the universe and all that's in it. Those of us who have are students of metaphysics know that it's the what's the word I want? It's the nature of the universe to find balance, always. That's the natural state of the universe. So in harmony, these two halves are depicted as the light and the dark halves of a complete circle. Think about night and day, not two separate entities, right? There's not a moment that we say this is day, this is night. Not two separate entities, but parts of a whole period of time. And think about good and bad. Certainly not two separate entities, but parts of a whole. And understanding, of course, what one sees as good, another might see very differently, yes? And think about dark and light. Again, not two separate entities, but parts of a whole. So I have another list of questions for us to ponder this week. I'm asking the question, how can I allow myself to be in the midst of this whole spectrum of viewpoints? How many of us have either blocked or unfriended people on Facebook this week? So, as I'm tempted to press that option of, hide the post from so-and-so, I ask that question. How can I be in the midst of this whole spectrum? So, being in the midst then puts me in the role of witness. How can I be a witness in the midst of the division? And let us all remember again, as truth students, as spiritual travelers, the division exists out there because it exists in here. So how can I be a witness to the division, both within myself and what I'm seeing play out in my world? Here's another good one. How can I sit in the tension without acting on my urges? My urges to shush them, which is one way, when you hit the block button, hide the post from so-and-so, that's a way of shushing them. How can I resist my urge to run from it? How can I resist my urge to judge and condemn others because their viewpoint is different than mine? So how can I be in the tension? Notice my urges, name them, but to stay in it without necessarily taking action. Can I sit in the midst of the tension without attachment to the way I want the outcome to go. We need unity. We need harmony. We all need to get along. One nation under God. It threw me back to a story when we were in ministerial school. Every class kind of has its own energy and mojo. And our class was very noisy. The class before us was very docile and, never disagreed. I think one time I heard it get loud in their classroom. And almost from the get-go, our class was like, people just had a whole range of ways to do things and who we are and what we're going to do and how we're going to go about things. And it came up in a big hurry. And I remember we were actually getting ready to walk over to our induction into the ministerial program by the class before us. And here we are standing in this prayer circle, and somebody piped up and said something, and somebody else said, "Well, I'm not comfortable with that at all." And the whole thing erupted. And so I was standing there with my stomach just jumping. We're all standing there holding hands, like just arguing with each other. And so I'm standing there holding hands, just my stomach jumping and, coming back to my breath. It's like, holy cow, we're not even going to make it to our induction. We're all screwed, right here. And so for weeks, the mantra was, we've got to come together as a class. And I remember we each had an opportunity fairly early in the program to get up before the class and give our little Sunday talk in our communications class. And my message was, we are together as a class, and this is what it looks like. It's messy, not necessarily harmonious. Nobody's voice is left unsaid. There's that. And I remember later the communications instructor came up to me and said, "That was really brave." And I said, it's just been with me all these weeks now, that mantra, we've got to come together as a class, meaning this is wrong. We're not together as a class. We were standing in a circle holding hands throughout that entire argument. Before our 04 person who was to lead us across the bridge of faith to our induction ceremony, watched it all for a few minutes, and then he put his hand up. He said, "Here's what we're going to do. We're going to shut our mouths. We're going to have a prayer. We're going to march across that bridge and go have an induction." And everybody got quiet. We had a prayer. We floated across that bridge of faith. And almost all of us made it through the 2-year program. Not all of us did. So anyway, that's a great big long story to say, can I sit in the midst of the tension without attachment to the outcome that I want? We've got to come together as a nation. We are a nation, yes? So, what does come together look like? Does it mean no disagreement? Does it mean no conflict? What does come together look like? Does it mean respect? Does it mean the ability to listen? Does it mean the ability to stay in dialogue? Does it mean we just hide the posts that we don't want to see? So the thing about our ability to sit in the tension is our ability to name it when we are doing that, and to be able to identify what I think, the stomach flopping and the thinking, holy cow, we are so screwed, we're not, it's what am I thinking? What are my feelings? What are my beliefs here? Being able to identify those. And I believe these are vital points for us to be contemplating right now. How can we allow ourselves to be in the midst? How can we be a witness to the division within ourselves and out here? How can we be in the tension and resist our urge to act? How can we be in the tension without attachment to outcome? And can we stay aware? Can we stay grounded? Can we stay connected? Can we stay aware of who we are, how we're showing up? And where I'm getting more and more often is the ability to see this division, to see this 50-50 as part of a whole continuum. Not either or, but both and. So if we have the ability to see this division as a part of a whole, that's where our much broader lens comes in. Can we find some way, somehow, to embrace the duality? Can we find some way, somehow, to see value in our continuum of viewpoints? And the question that another question that I'm pondering a lot is, how can I connect? How can I connect with the other half? How can I do that? What are my best avenues and paths? And dare I point out, because I've had this conversation with myself, meeting the other half is not about me expecting them to behave differently or to think differently. Hear that? Meeting the other half is all about what goes on in here. And it's also not necessarily about me bringing someone around to agreeing with my viewpoint. I know I have used a phenomenal amount of restraint over the last 18 months in social media and not posting my thoughts and my opinions. And I think it was Wednesday night late, I saw myself engaging and some rational part of my brain went, time to sign off. But I was responding to this person I know who's done some work for us in the past, and their viewpoint was just so strong and of course wrong and off and didn't have all the facts and so forth. And so I responded to it and I said, with all due respect, have you thought about blah, 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 blah. And so he responded the next day with a very long response. Again, wrong. Again, doesn't have all the facts. And so I read the response and noticed the urges, noticed my thoughts and feelings, and how I responded was, thank you for sharing your viewpoint. And resisted the urge to type, we'll just agree to disagree here. Not even about that. Like, they responded and shared a viewpoint, and I could read that. So, as spiritual beings, perhaps it's more about meeting on the continuum, and I believe, I know for my own self, that meeting will require a gargantuan shift on my part. Can anybody else find that? A gargantuan shift to meet. So I've been picturing that scenario as being the bridge. How do we be the bridge? So as far as I can tell this week, I'm not being the bridge by relying solely on my human nature. Not much bridging happening. My best bridge building is to express more and more of my divine nature. And we can be the bridge. We have these handy, basic unity principles. It's the not dogma of unity. because we don't have any dogma. The basic unity principles are our best bridge building tools. Let's roll through those really quickly. Principle number 1, there is one presence and one power. So how I'm using that principle this week is leaning into that. Leaning into that often and leaning hard. Second principle, there is divinity. I think I just coined a new word, Ruth. There is divinity in all human beings. Can we just say that out loud together? There is divinity in all human beings. And in our minds, we might say, comma, including, and make that list. We are all created out of the energy of divine love. Principle number 3, so true. We create our experience of life, subtext, degree of suffering. We create our experience of life through our thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. That goes back to that step of, can I be in this tension? Can I be in the midst? Can I be in the division and become aware of what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm believing? Because my thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are creating my experience of this election, my experience of being on social media, my experience of how I'm dialoguing with folks. Truth principle number 4, we connect with truth. We connect with the presence. We connect with God mind. We connect with the ground of our being in prayer and meditation. How many of us have gone there more often this week than maybe we have at any other time recently? Principle number 5, it's not enough to know the principles, not enough just to recite the principles. In Unity, we are all about the business of living the principles. I'm calling it voting with my life, which I borrowed from my esteemed Reverend friend, Erin. I think she borrowed it from Gandhi. Is that a Gandhi? Vote with your life? Yeah, we're going to call it Gandhi. Somebody Google that. So given our current state of the union, given our current, we got to come together as a nation, how do we each live these unity principles? How do we handle these big questions that are floating? I'm not going to begin to predict or dictate that. What I do know is that each and every one of us is an individualized, is a personalized expression of spirit, of principle, and of truth. So as we're moving through the coming days, the coming weeks, the coming months, my fervent prayer is that we, you and me, can vote with our lives in a highly spiritual, conscious way. And I think one of the questions that's important, again, as spiritual travelers, I think one of the questions that's important for us to ask is, am I doing harm? Am I doing harm with my words, with my actions, in my dialogue? I had a much needed, thank you for getting married Friday night, Dave. At your wedding, at the reception part, I had a much needed conversation with some friends from Unity that I consider to be grounded and to be level-headed. And I was really looking forward to that conversation. One of the thoughts that came out of that conversation was, in order to keep culture alive, in other words, in order to have a thriving culture, there must be change. And change we got. That's good news, possibly. Yeah. Big week for you too, huh, Dave? And then the other thing that came to me this morning was thinking about Tier de Chardin. I know I just butchered that name. Phenomenon of life. That the impulse of life, capital L, the impulse of life is to go forward. Remember that. Impulse of life is to go forward. Life does not, cannot move backward. Let's meditate. Let's have some silent time together. Inviting and allowing ourselves to lean into our seats. To notice that in this holy moment, we are fully supported. In this moment, getting fully conscious that our vibration of thought, of belief, the spoken word, is so vital right here, right now. I invite you to get in touch with your own vibration, what's radiating from our hearts. And I invite us to energetically connect with the person that's sitting beside us, the person that's sitting before us, behind us. As we can find the presence of peace deep within, we are guided from a deep, deeply wise consciousness. Be still and know that I am that I am. Stay right there. Now comes the time that we prepare our tithes and offerings. I thought I saw some folks that I felt like you were here for the first time. Is that true? Anybody here with us for the first time this morning? Okay. Then we're glad you're back. Get together every Sunday at 10 bells. Doors always open. Come on back. Our blessing is in the bulletin. It begins with the words divine love. Together, please. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful. And we get to help out the choir this morning on the offering song. It's number 338 in your hymnal. Gift to be simple.
Pretty song. Let's sing it twice. Why don't we all stand? Sorry. Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to calm down where you want to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right. 'Tis the gift to be simple, 'tis the gift to be free, 'tis the gift to calm down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in the place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend we shan't be ashamed. To turn will be our delight, till by turning we come round right.
You and Otis back there chatting away. Oh, and so we bring our hearts to gratitude this morning. Gratitude for this beautiful day. Gratitude for God's good, visible and invisible. We see these gifts pressed down and overflowing, blessed on their way, doing the work of Spirit. And so it is, and
I just want to thank you,
before we stand for our peace song and prayer for protection, 2 reminders. We have many, many cards that members of our spiritual care team got together on the table. So check out the names on the cards and just put your little note of love on there, please. They will be blessed. And then secondly, check out the open slots for our spa day. We want to make sure that we keep those practitioners busy that day. The words to the peace song are on the green insert. The light of God surrounds us.
I am the light of God.
The love of God enfolds us.
I am the love of God.
The power of God protects us.
I am the power of God.
The presence of God watches over us.
I am the presence of
Together, more than ever, wherever I am, God is, and that's the truth.